Here's a great pleasure to welcome my first guest tonight, one of the world's most popular actors, Mr. Clint Eastwood. Finally got you here, huh?
It's terrific. I was standing out in line, some guy passed me a beer.
You just want you to swing in, huh?
Yeah, just swing right in.
I'm glad you came by, everyone. We're wrapping it up. We got five more.
I thought I'd join the throng, many throngs of people who are saying goodbye.
Good to see you.
Wishing you well.
Thank you.
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good.
I was watching the other night. They played on, I think it was cable. One of your great movies. I want to talk about some of the other things you did in the early days. You started out as what? $75 a week contract player out here in Hollywood, right?
That was many years ago, at least 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Do you remember these pictures? No, I'm just... Revenge of the Creature? Lady Godiva? The Giant Tarantula?
I try to forget all of it. Certain things you...
I did this other night to Terry Garr. I don't know why. I have some perverse humor in me, and I brought out the one. She says, "Why do you bring out the turkeys I've done?"
Yeah, I know it. Well,
but there's not an actor
has
that
to start
hasn't done
with
that.
something, and a little scene here and there, and those flicks.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to plug any films tonight because this is your last swan song, other than Unforgiven, which opens August 7th.
You're a true Tonight Show guest.
Gene Hackman, and Richard Harris, and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Wonderful cast.
But outside of that,
I'm just here to say goodbye.
When you see some of your old things on television, for example, the Ed Sullivan people did a retrospective. They call a lot of the artists that had been on the Sullivan Show over the years, and they asked because they were putting together, stuff for syndication. And I'd been on the Ed Sullivan Show 5 times early in my career, and I wouldn't give them permission because I was embarrassed at that time with what I had done. And even though it was almost 30 years ago, I said no because I didn't want to see it. Now, you didn't have those control over your movies, right? And they can play them on cable. When they come on, do you ever sit back and look at the early years?
Well, I realized how unblonde I was.
Yeah.
I'm blonder now.
Yeah, you're a little blonder.
Same as you. We seem to have gotten blonder.
I wouldn't call this blonde. This is really going on all white out now.
It's a total white out. But I must say that in the last few nights I've been watching the show, and in fact I've been watching it this whole last few weeks when you've been having this. The Goodbye Group.
The Goodbye Group.
I must say I've been having a great time with that Jack Webb skit last night. It was fun.
Wasn't that fun?
That was really fun.
24 years ago. 24 years ago. We were talking.
And I guess I first came here, it must have been 22 years ago.
You were doing Rawhide.
Yeah, before. I think I went to New York on the first time. I was doing A Fistful of Dollars or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Show like that.
Tell me about now. Rawhide went on how many years?
7
7
and a
years.
half, yeah.
Was that before you did the all of the?
Yeah, that was all
Westerns?
before. Yeah, and I did the films in Europe, and then came around and did film. Just been here in this country.
Tell me about working, because I think those films have got a marvelous quality and style about them. The director who just died last year, didn't he, Sergio Leone?
Sergio Leone. Yeah, he had a fantastic style.
Who did Fistful of Dollars and
A Few Dollars More.
Few Dollars More, and with Lee Van Cleef and I think Eli Wallach were in those.
Yeah.
But what was the style? How did he shoot those? Because they were stylized, very effective.
I think the thing that made him style is that he didn't have any preconceived idea of how films were. He had been growing up on John Ford pictures and William Wellman, like much of the rest of us had, but he didn't have any of the Hayes Office concepts that we had when we were in this particular country. For instance, there was a rule in this country: you could never show the person shooting someone and the person being shot at the same shot. Always had to be separate cuts. If you notice Gunsmoke, the beginning of those, it's always cut to the guy. And here, he didn't know anything about that, so he just tied everything all up, and it became very stylish.
But he had the wonderful things with the close-ups. He did a lot of pauses and the marvelous faces on the character actors.
Well, it was very operatic. They cut to the close-ups, from wide shots into very intense close-ups into the eyes.
You know my favorite picture? There are a lot of them I love you in. Outlaw Josie Wales. That was Did you like that one? Seriously?
Yeah,
That's got a lot of heart to it.
I mean, that was my favorite too.
Isn't that fun? Now we hadn't talked that over, but I don't know why. It's got a lot of character and a lot of quality, and
that one holds up well with the public, I think.
Yeah. Now tell me about working with the. I was almost say chimpanzee. It wasn't a chimpanzee. It was an orangutan.
No, that was the other night. You had somebody on with a chimpanzee. That was Bob. Wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
But we had you had the orangutan, which are very, very strong animals.
They're extremely strong. 3-to-1 strength over a man per pound. So
Tell
if
me
you have a
about
150-pound
working on
animal,
that
it's pretty big.
Orangutan, how'd you get?
That's a long time ago, but it was great. The animal, you have to get the animal attuned to you. You have to get the animal to like you, and you have to almost go on a date.
How do you get an orangutan to like you? I know. I don't mean it's dinner in a theater or something like that.
Fewer orangutans, but by accident.
Yeah.
But this, it's just a thing. Orangutan is much more of an introvert than a chimpanzee. A chimpanzee is an extreme extrovert, loves to show off, and orangutan sits and looks and thinks a lot.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of coax it out.
You wonder what they're thinking when they look at you, don't they?
Yeah.
Those animals, you almost think that they're thinking what you're thinking.
Yeah, they may be.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
We don't know. The Dirty Harry pictures you did, when you first read that, because they were all successful. Got any more of those in you?
No, there's a time when every good thing should come to an end.
That's exactly what I...
That's what you're saying. You've been telling him for months now.
Exactly. Everything comes to an end sooner or later.
And I think it's time for me to move on with other things. And the current film that I know I'm not supposed to plug my film. I've made up my mind I wouldn't plug the
I know
film.
that. It's not easy, I
But
understand.
it's current film is a different spin on a Western.
Yeah.
So everything is a little, you get to a certain point in your life and you want to try different things.
Going to get back into politics again? Like the mayor of Carmel?
I think...
Tell me about being mayor of Carmel. What?
It was great fun.
I mean, you cleaned the city up.
It was never dirty. It was never corrupt. It was just it was something that I enjoyed. I enjoyed being involved with, but only for a 2-year term. I didn't want to get any further. A lot of people speculated that I might go into some other kind of state politics or run for Senate, but
not true, huh?
not true.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing about politics. I was noticing in fact, on your show, you mentioned the other night, you said that Ross Perot was leading in California.
Apparently he was in some of the polls. He's leading in a couple of states, and he hasn't done anything. I mean, he hasn't said anything yet.
Yeah, he hasn't said anything yet, which is interesting. But the one thing I was interested in is over the last elections, the media has always lulled us into some sort of deal that the elections were close. But I remember dating back to the Carter-Reagan election. You had it on your show. You just polled your audience with an applause meter. I'm surprised you haven't done that already this time.
It was very strange. I told Ronald Reagan...
And they always came out accurate.
I told Ronald Reagan in his second, when he was term as president, we'd had the poll, and we did it for a couple of weeks. And it was overwhelming. We couldn't believe it. We thought somebody was salting the audience.
Yeah.
And it called it right down the line. So it's probably as good of...
And it called it last time with the Dukakis one.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We have to take a break? We're going to cut away. Stay where you are. We're coming back. You know, I told you.
All righty.
Okay, boys and girls. Would you welcome my good friend David Letterman?
Thank you very much.
Isn't that
You betcha. You can't beat Marines on leave. Thank you.
nice? Yes, please.
Johnny. Let me get this straight.
David, yeah.
You've been on the air 30 years.
Yeah.
You're down to your last week, 5 shows.
Right.
And you spend 20 minutes of that time talking to that guy about his cat.
That's right. And if you stay on another 20, you'll be talking to the cat.
And Clint, one night, Clint, would it have killed you? One night to wear a tie. I don't know. You know, it's a big deal. Why not? It's not a barbecue.
They're booing you.
What is this, a Friar's roast you're
I don't
doing
know
all of a
what's going
sudden? It's nice of you to come out here.
Thank you very much. I feel great.
Do you really?
Yeah, top physical condition of my life. And psychologically, I have peace of mind. Before the show, I got to a payphone. I called my house in Connecticut. There was no answer, and I think that's always a good sign. That's always a good sign.
I wasn't going to touch on that, but since you brought that is scary too. That's scary.
Oh, sure, it's scary. Yeah.
And but good Lord, real fan.
I could give her directions to your house. Mr. Free Time.
You got it. Well, maybe I'll come back to New York and hang out with you a little bit, or...
Oh yeah, please do.
Sure.
That brings up an interesting point.
All right, what is that?
Let me get into this.
Okay.
Here's what I'm getting a lot of. I'm getting a lot of this, are you going to miss Johnny? Are you going to miss Johnny? Am I going to miss Johnny? Are you going to miss
It's
Johnny?
boring, I know that.
Are your folks going to miss Johnny? Or is your clergyman going to miss Johnny? Is Daryl Gates going to miss Johnny? Or the Dodgers going to miss Johnny? I think there's another perspective to consider.
Sure.
All right. First of all, you're not passing away.
That's right.
You're still funny.
Thank you.
You're vibrant. You're charming, energetic, entertaining, a very nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Ed, pick up a pointer or two. I don't know.
You see? Now you caught me off guard because I thought, oh, he's setting it up, and you're going to take swerve to the right and do a joke, and you didn't.
Yeah. Okay, so you're alive, you're healthy, you're
energetic,
still
vibrant,
very
all of
entertaining
that.
man.
Right.
You're not going to prison like many of our top Hollywood stars.
That's true.
You're still going to be in show business.
I hope so.
You're going to be on television.
I hope so.
I have a show. You could be on my show.
That's true. Can I ask you a question?
You could be a guest. You could be a guest host.
I don't know about that.
Come to think of it, you can have the damn thing. Things ain't that great.
Still pissed, huh? Chomping at the bit there. Look, about guesting on your show, do you pay what we do? Same fee?
Yeah, I believe
Then forget it.
I
We'll work for that kind of money.
I think what people have to keep in mind now in considering this is the achievement. 30 years nightly entertainment, dominating television, and becoming a significant fixture in American culture. That's, I think, what we have to keep in mind here. Now, nightly entertainment, sure, I know the last 10, 12 years, what was it, like one night a week? Is that? But that still does not diminish the achievement.
Couldn't go straight through with it, could you? You couldn't go straight through with it.
And then what people want to know regarding Ed, and it's none of my business, but I hear this, and you saved your money, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right, there you go.
Sure. Now,
So it's a happy ending for everybody.
you asked me one day, you're kidding about the frequent vacations, and that's true. But you asked me on your show one night when we first started the show, a lot of people didn't remember this. We went on in New York City live at 11:15 in the morning, at night, and we went until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
An hour and 45 minutes every single night of the week. And I'm going to tell you, after a couple of years, you are blinking a lot. We had about 20 of one. Authors would be coming in, Here's Mrs. Ponty Klosnick to talk about 18 ways to make lasagna. I mean, you would go for anything.
We still use her.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Don't throw anything away. You'll find it's like a slaughterhouse. You don't throw anything. You use everything.
Keep everything you can.
So what else is new in your life? Did you just fly out or just get in town?
Yeah, I just got in town yesterday. This is funny. It occurs to me when I heard Clint was going to be on the show. He and I met years and years ago, and I'm not sure if he remembers this.
From the look on his face, he doesn't.
Yeah. I was doing stand-up
I'm still
comedy.
working on the tie part.
Oh, it's a.
But I know you got the gym socks, so you still got the gym socks.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword, yeah. So you met where?
We met at the Comedy Store. I was doing stand-up comedy there. This was like the mid or late 70s.
Yeah, it was just, I guess a couple of years before you started your show back then.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember everybody was very excited because Clint drove up and it looked like an old police car, an unmarked car. Remember that? A big gray Plymouth one that had a big, huge engine?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Clint would...
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, it was a great car. It was a beautiful old, and no hubcaps, no marks on it, but the thing was powerful and fast and nasty looking.
Exactly.
And so Clint would come in, and we'd be very excited because we were just beginners, and you want to impress the important guy in the audience. And so I was up there doing my little, I don't know what the hell I was doing. And I'm on stage, and I get off, and I'm very nervous, and I go to the back of the club where everybody kind of hangs out, and now you want to wait and see what's going on. And after about 5 minutes, here comes Clint Eastwood. And you see Clint Eastwood coming out of the lights in the club, you know, and he's very imposing. He's a tall man. Well, he's right here. You can see for yourself.
That's right. You can measure him if you want to.
Matter with me. And he's I got my back up against the wall, and he walks right up to me. And do you have any idea what you said to me?
No.
Oh, it was unbelievable. So I'm standing right like this, and he comes up to me and he says, "Where's the men's room, punk?"
Those are the moments.
Yeah. And I carried that with me.
I think those are the moments. I think those are the moments you treasure.
He's pissed.
You know, those are the moments you treasure. We're gonna just do sell a little something here, then we'll return to our little harlequinade. So stay where you are.
Oh, it's
Okay. All right, Dave Letterman, Clint Eastwood is here. Bob Hope will join us later. What else you want to talk about? Anything else?
I mentioned coming out here last night. It seems to me that something always odd transpires on the trip coming out here. And this is a little experiment for me, a little story, a little reminder how people who seem odd, if you're sensing some oddness about a person, 99% of the time it'll turn out that they are odd. Yesterday I left New York City, flew out here at Delta. We love to fly and it shows.
Right.
I hate those airlines that are just in it for the money. So, it's kind of a rolling laugh.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And we get on the plane, and the people couldn't be nicer. The service is great, and it's clean, and I'm relaxed, and I'm happy. And a woman sits down next to me, and she's nondescript, is the only way I can describe her. Yeah. Just there's nothing significantly strange or unusual or interesting about the woman, just nondescript.
Bland, yeah.
Now, when this happens, and I'm going to be on a long flight, I take defensive measures. I'll usually look right at the person, get them right in the eyes, and I'll say to them, "Think we'll see any flying saucers?" They'll leave me alone.
That's fun.
But before this could happen, the woman says to me, "Wow, I am really hungry." And I think this is odd. And I said to her, "Well, you certainly come to the right place." It's not exactly a Red Lobster
That's
we're in,
right.
you know, it's an airplane. And so everything's fine, and they bring around the menus, and she's looking at it, and she says, "Oh, man, now I'm getting even hungrier." And I said, "Oh, yeah, you can't beat flying for really working up quite an appetite." And I said to her, "Ma'am, is it safe to say that the hunger is on you like a fever?" And she says, well, yes. So now, what I've done, I've diagnosed in my head, made the diagnosis tapeworm. That's what I'm thinking. So she's perusing the menu.
Right in front of you.
Yeah, looking over the menu. Now, you know, on airplanes, above the passenger seats, you have that little console thing, and you have like 3 air vents. And you have a couple of buttons, one for the light and one for the stewardess or the flight attendant call button. Now, you hit that, and a bell goes off someplace, and the flight attendant will come to see if you need any kind of help. All right. So she's sitting there, and she's looking over the menu, and she's just about ready to go, and she puts it down, puts the menu down. This is like an hour into the flight. She stands up. She's kind of half-crouched. She presses the flight attendant button. She puts her face about that far from the air nozzle. And she says, "I'll have the chicken Diablo. I'd like the garden salad with the French dressing and coffee." What the hell is that? I don't know. What are people nuts?
This lady.
I'd never seen
Probably
anything
a
like
first
that.
time. Must have been a first time.
No, she seemed like a seasoned traveler.
Well, obviously not too well seasoned. Not well done, anyway. You know, when you came on here in the early years, you used to talk about, I hate to bring this up because same thing might have happened to your dog that happened to Condoli's cat.
No,
your dog,
John,
Bob?
my dog is 40 now.
You talked about that dog a lot. Bob, if I
Yeah,
remember.
Bob passed away. Bob, well,
I didn't
passed
know
away.
that. I'm
Well,
sorry.
that's a long time ago. And that's what happens with pets.
didn't know
And they
that.
bring you a lot of joy and a lot of happiness
Yes, they
while
do.
they're around. But yeah, I used to talk a lot about Bob because he was, I love the animal the way pet owners love their animals. He was I remember I told you on the show, he was a rare breed. He was a Belgian Airhead.
Belgian Airhead. I do remember that. But lovable.
And I was thinking about that the other day, and there was, it was one summer, about 5 or 6 years ago in Connecticut, and it was hotter than hell. Just unbelievably hot, and when it gets hot back east and in the Midwest, there's also that oppressive humidity. So I get up early and I don't know what to do, so I think, well, I better clean out the refrigerator, get rid of the perishables, you know.
Yeah.
And I come across a 2-pound load of ground beef, and you could tell that, you know, I mean, if I was a doctor, I'd want to run tests on it. It had gone. So I just, okay, let's get rid of that. And I go out and I run some errands, and I come home, and there's Bob kind of sitting around the house, and I see the wrapper for the 2-pound of ground beef there on the kitchen floor, and I think, oh my God, the damn dog has ingested 2 pounds of rotten beef. And so right away I call the vet, and I tell him what has happened, and the vet says, well, you know, dogs have cast iron constitutions. And I'm breathing a sigh of relief now. But then he says what vets will always say to you, he says, yeah, but you know, if it was my dog, I'd want to get that beef out of him. And I said, great, I'll bring him right over, you know. And he says, well, you know, sorry, we're closed. He says, but you can do something. You can get it out yourself. And I think, oh, what is this, you know, surgery in the garage? He says, give him some hydrogen peroxide, and it'll bring it all up. He said, give him 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide.
Right.
And everything will be fine. So me and Bob go out into the yard, and I got the hydrogen peroxide, and I got the tablespoons right here. I got Bob in a headlock, and I'm ready to pour the hydrogen peroxide. And for the next 90 minutes, it's collegiate wrestling. Oh, it's almost a pin. There's an escape. There's a takedown. The dog won't drink the hydrogen peroxide, so I go back inside, and I pour out the contents of a bottle of Windex with a big pump sprayer on it. I pour the hydrogen peroxide in the bottle, and I get a good one on him, and I squirt about a quart of that stuff down Bob. So now I'm like a tourist at Old Faithful. You know, I'm thinking, do I have time to go to the car to get the camera? I don't know. It's gonna blow any second here. I don't want to miss this. And finally, it works. Unbelievably. And there it is. There's the ground beef, and it looks just almost like it did earlier in the day. Except now it's got quite a head on it now.
That's a great story. We'll be right back. Stay where you are.